Hey YouTube, thanks for stopping by the channel. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about the chicken coop that I have. Now, if you know of any of my previous videos, you've already seen me assembling it. But I wanted to talk about my feelings after having it for a month or so with my girls in it. The coop that I bought was the Superior Construction chicken coop. It's made by a company called PetMate. I got it from Tractor Supply for about $400, which is about mid-range for prefab chicken coops, if you're trying to stay, you know, somewhere in a budget area. So this coop is rated to support 8 to 12 full-grown hens. Now, something I've noticed about what the manufacturers say coops will support, the numbers aren't always 100% accurate. A lot of times what I'm seeing is that when they say it's going to support X amount, they're probably talking about smaller varieties of birds. Now in this coop I have 4 golden commets and I have 4 Isa browns. And my coop is rated for 8 to 12 hens, or 8 to 12 chickens really. I'm not comfortable with going much higher than that because as they've gotten larger, there's still plenty of room in the, at least the hen house portion, but getting a little, it's going to get a little tight in there once they're all 100% grown. So I'm restricting myself to the smaller end of the number, and that's what I would recommend for you. As for this chicken coop, it did take me, I don't know, about 3-4 hours to put together. I would recommend having 2 people. It'll probably take a quarter of the time if you have 2 people, but I didn't, so I had to do everything on my own, which included balancing some parts. It was a nightmare. Now, for this chicken coop, a couple reasons why I bought it. One, in this coop I have a sliding litter box basically. This makes it a lot easier for me to be able to clean the coop out and keep it from smelling nasty, because honestly I'm about 12 feet away from where my house is right now. So I don't want this to smell nasty come summer when everything's warm out here. So I like having this here. It's a nice long box that basically spans the entire length of, or the entire width of the coop. I also have this door right here which allows easy access into the hen house, which comes in real handy if I'm putting my chickens in here, or if I catch them roaming around outside and I want to put them in the hen house, I can just open this door, put them right in. I have 2 roosting bars, which you can, I don't know if you can see, they've been pretty heavily used by the girls so far. On the other side of the coop, I have a ventilation window, and I know you probably can't see it here, but I have a sliding ventilation window that's covered by welded wire. So come summer when it's warm outside, I'll be able to open that up and let a little bit more air circulation in. The door itself, this is just plexiglass. Now, as for the nesting area, I have this door right here that will just fold down. And inside, I have 3 nesting boxes. I don't remember what the ratio of chickens to nesting boxes is, but I do remember that from what I've been told, I have more than enough. Couple notes, these are really flimsy and they do tend to fall out quite a bit while you're cleaning the coop out, so just make sure that you're resetting those positions before you close it up. Now, nesting box locks with 2 latches. I only use 1. My hens aren't laying yet, so I don't open this up too much, so it's not a big deal. All right, now, when we're looking right at the front of my chicken coop, we'll see that I have that door right there in the front. What I did, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a minute, is I built a little chicken yard. I fenced in a small area for my chickens to be able to roam. Because this chicken coop does have a built-in run. You can see under it how they can get under the hen house, scratch around under there. I've got their food and water hanging, plus their ramp with a sliding door in the front of the hen house. But what I wanted to do, because again, I did not and I still don't think that this is large enough to support 8 hens full time, you know, around the clock in the run. So I fenced in about 150 square foot area for my girls to be able to come out and scratch around. Now, this door does stay open around the clock unless I am going to be gone for the day, and then I'm going to close it up so that they can only be inside the main run. The reason behind that is they've already figured out how to defeat my fence, so I don't want to have to worry about them getting out and roaming around when I'm not on the property. Now, I have right here a door that does allow me access into the coop proper, so that I can get in, fill their water, fill their food on a regular basis, as well as just get in and hang out with them if I want to. This door is also double latched. I only use one of them. It's a laziness thing, really. One thing I did like was, instead of the coop being fenced in with chicken wire, it is using a pretty strong welded wire mesh, which I thought was a very, very nice touch. I mean, I could punch through it if I really wanted to, but it serves its purpose. It keeps predators out, because I'm so close to my house. I don't have a lot of predators over here, and I'm surrounded by farmland anyway, so I don't have a lot of predators in general, which is a really, really good thing. Now, this coop is what PetMate called a DIY coop, obviously meaning I have to assemble it myself, but you probably noticed it a few places where it's not painted. Now, this coop does not come pre-painted, pre-treated, or anything like that. So if you find yourself buying a coop, look for something that is treated or has a very hardy wood. This is, if I remember right, pine wood, and from my understanding, that's pretty weather resistant. But what I did for the parts of the coop that are going to be in contact with general elements, rain, wind, things like that, you can see that I do have a coat of red paint on it. Now, this is barn paint, so it is weather resistant paint. Something I didn't like, though, was, you probably notice, or you may not be able to notice, but this welded wire is all red. I painted that red because it comes just raw stainless steel, you know, unpainted look. I put a coat of paint on it to give it some weatherproofing so it doesn't rust, because I do need this coop to last me at least a couple of years until I can get around to clearing out a real spot to have like a full-size coop. Because 8 chickens, it's just the start for me. But overall, I'm pleased with my purchase. Some things that I like how it has a door that's tall enough for me to get into. I don't like that it's not wide because I'm fat. I've got multiple points where I can access the hen house, which is going to come in very handy once the chickens start laying this summer. I'm about a month and a half away from them laying at this point. I thought it was a nice touch that it does have a fenced-in run area, which a lot of coops do, but because the hen house is lifted up off the ground, they've got that area underneath it open. So if it's a day where I'm not going to be around, I can just close the front door, let them out of the coop in the morning, and they're fine. They'll be fine for an afternoon. Now, a couple recommendations. 1, paint the coop before you assemble it. After I'd unpacked it, I was sitting there trying to think, do I want to paint first or do I want to assemble first? I have a problem with being patient, so I assembled first, painted second, when honestly I should have painted first, assembled second. Recommendation 2, and it seems like, in hindsight, it seems like, well, duh, you should. Make sure the area you're putting your coop on is level before you do it. This area, I've been working on it a little bit and it's leveled out some, but this area right here is not entirely level. So it makes it a little difficult for me to open my side door and my nesting box door. which not a big deal, but long term, it's going to be irritating. But I mean, other than that, it's a $400 coop. I feel like it was a very good decision financially, because I wanted eggs and I didn't want to, go to the store for them. Long term, it's going to cost me more for eggs by having chickens, but I like the idea of having them fresh. So if something happens and our supply is, our food chain is interrupted somehow, I'm still going to have eggs. That, and long term, once I have my property completely clean, I'm going to scale up basically everything I'm doing and try to turn it into a little side hustle. And that's going to require a much, much larger flock than what I've got. I think it's a pretty good buy. So if you see this one, which again is the Superior Construction Chicken Coop, I know Tractor Supply was selling it a couple weeks ago. PetMate sells it. You can probably find it in other online outlets. If you find it, I would recommend buying it. But again, for any chicken coop you buy, a couple bullet points I want to remind you of. Lean on the smaller number that they quote that the coop will support. So if it says it'll support 8 to 12, assume that it's only going to support 8. Especially if you've never had chickens before. I've never had chickens before these, so I had no idea what to expect in terms of overall size. So lean towards the smaller number on capacity. Paint before you assemble, and level your ultimate location for it before you put it in. Another recommendation, and it's something I might do long term, you can turn it into a chicken tractor. You could put this on a platform and roll it around. I chose not to because even though I have more than enough space technically, I'm on 1.3 acres, I'm on a hill. And while I do have several spots that are flat enough to support a coop, I do not want to be pushing a 300-pound chicken coop up and down a hill. No. So hopefully that helps you guys make a more informed decision on your chicken coop. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm, again, very, very fond of it. And I'm very happy with my purchase. So in the meantime, guys, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Hit the subscribe button. That really helps the channel out. So I appreciate every single one of you hanging out with me. Until the next time, I'll catch you later.